Hey folks, in this video, we're going to be walking through a design on how we can get a look at our church like this.
Comfortable. Oh, God, no, God.
So let's go. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. Just first time stopping by the channel. Thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member by clicking one of the links down below. So I had a person sent me an email at questions@ajhomes.com. This is from Michael Borges. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. He wanted to know, is there some type of way to get this effect that TD Jakes uses in his sanctuary for not a virtual choir, but a virtual congregation? So I'm gonna try and put this together. This is just my stab at this. This probably is not the way that they're doing it, but this is how I would replicate something like that. So let's go ahead and cut over to the computer, and then we're going to bring up Draw.io, and we're going to try and design something like that, okay? Alrighty, I have Draw.io here. Let me get up out of the way. All right, so we're going to come over here and make a new design, and I'll just call this Virtual Congregation. And then also just everything that I come up with, the design and everything like that, will be on my vlog, on my blog. Have a link down in the description for that, and we'll try and go through all of the parts that are needed to do something like this. So let me get my phone out the way. All right, so the way that they have it is we're gonna have our preacher here, and the way it looks to me is that this is Zoom, that they're doing this to bring everybody in. I'm assuming that Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, something like that gives you the same type of flow. But again, I haven't used them in mass like that, so I don't know if they would give you a window for everybody. But I do know Zoom will do that. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do with this. All right, so let me just speed design this, the basic setups on what you need. So this is how I envision that I would do something like this. So you have your regular typical setup, your switcher, and I'm just going to assume this is kind of like ATEM Mini Pro or higher, just going off of this. But honestly, I would most likely think about doing this with maybe a television studio HD, something that would give you an aux out or some type of way like that, or you could split it. There are multiple ways you could do this, but I'm just going to do it this way. So we have a 3-camera system that is capturing everybody this way. That's going into your switcher. You have your typical SDI out going into your streaming system. That's streaming to YouTube, your platforms, Facebook, whatever, your website, anything like that. Now you have your presentation system, so you can have scripture, all the dynamics that you would normally have in a regular service. So this part is all the same. I'm saying the ATEM Mini, just you can do this the same way. Have you could split the SDI out and have this go into the other computer as well too, or all of this could be done on the streaming system. It doesn't matter. What this could be doing is streaming to YouTube and Facebook, but then similarly, like if you're using OBS, you could turn on virtual camera, and then virtual camera can go to the other to the other, to Zoom or something like that. I would want to do this in a separate system because in my mind, this is how this will work. You're going to be capturing everything that's happening in the service. So this Zoom PC is going to act just like another streaming system. So this is going to, and I would say, I'll say streaming PC, and I'll say YouTube, website, Facebook. So that's what that's going. So you're going to be getting whatever that's coming out there. Now with this, the output coming from the switcher that is now going to Zoom, everybody on the end of Zoom is going to be able to see this, technically the exact same thing that's happening on the regular website. But the difference is in Zoom, you can use a setting called multiple screens. So multiple screens will show on your second screen all of the participants that are in your Zoom meeting. That with a HDMI out, and I did this in the wrong color. HDMI out coming from the Zoom PC is going to treat, you're going to run that into a HDMI to SDI, run the SDI. You'll probably pull a splitter in there if you have multiple TVs like they have in theirs, multiple outputs, whatever, projectors, and run SDI to each one of those, convert them over, and then all of these other monitors are going to act as a second screen. And then in Zoom, with that multiple setting, everybody who is a participant in watching the Zoom would be now broadcast in full screen on all these other monitors. That's how I would do that. Now, so that way, if everything is unified through your switcher, when you start changing everything, people who are watching, who are not a part of the virtual congregation, will see everything. Website, Facebook, YouTube, everything. But people in Zoom watching it, they would get the exact same experience. The only difference is they are now going to be considered an output. Now that I think about that, you could actually not even have to do this. You could run this other input into your switcher if it supports it, and they would have to be an auxiliary out that would go to this. So like the ATEM Television Studio HD has an auxiliary out. So you could route this other computer as monitor number 2 into your switcher, which will still show everybody that's in the congregation, the virtual congregation, and then send it to these other monitors. So that could work the exact same way. But I still would do this with a separate system to be able to do that. So really straightforward now that I think about it, but hopefully that makes sense and y'all enjoy that. So you really would just be adding another system into this. And again, if you're using the ATEM Mini Pro, unfortunately, you would lose your multi-view. So it's doable with that, but I personally would probably run that through another system. Because if you had this same system connected to your streaming system, they're going to be one program, say OBS or vMix, is going to see the ATEM Mini as an input, and you won't be able to share that input with Zoom unless you ran Zoom and then ran virtual output. But then it starts, again, I don't believe in having a system do multiple tasks at the same time, because if one of them fails, then you lose everything. In this, if your Zoom is out, everything else will still be maintained. But that is how I would do that. But let me know if anybody's doing anything similar to like that. Let me know what y'all are doing, because I'd really like to check this out. This was kind of interesting to try and figure out, which I think is really cool. I might see if my folks in my church will be interested in something like that. But yeah, anyway, let me know down below what y'all think. Are you doing something like this, or is there any other things that you'd like me to try and figure out and see if that's possible for you? But I think that's about it. So if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. I want to thank the patrons and YouTube members for making this video possible. Their names are scrolling right now, and you too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, or a YouTube member by clicking the join button below. Whichever way you pick, folks, you are helping us train media ministries all over the world. This is AJ, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Later.